So I've looked at a handful of Joy Division tracks on this channel before, but I've not yet looked at any New Order. And I suppose that technically this song Ceremony is both a Joy Division and a New Order track, because it was the last song, or amongst the last songs, that Joy Division worked on together as a band before Ian Curtis died, and then it was the first New Order single. It's a great song, and I think it contains some great guitar playing. This is really my kind of guitar playing. I mean, yes, it's basic, it's primitive, but it's passionately played, it's memorable, and it serves the song perfectly. It's also pretty easy to play, but not so easy to play that I haven't managed to play it totally wrongly for the past few years, and that's something I'm going to attempt to put right in this video. Now, just before we get going, I should also point out that there are several different recordings of this song. You can hear a Joy Division demo recording, and I think there are some live or some sound check recordings by Joy Division. Then there's the original New Order single, and then they actually re-recorded the single later the same year, I think, in 1981, and there are various live New Order recordings as well. I think from a guitar point of view, they're all mostly the same, just with some very small differences. But just to be absolutely clear, this video and this lesson is mainly based on the first New Order single version of the song. Anyway, let's take a look. So interestingly, the entire song is made up of just two different chords, and these are really implied by what the bass guitar is doing. The song kicks off with the bass line going something like this. And the two chords being implied there are F going to C. So we've just got 2 bars of F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 bars of C. So I'm hearing those 2 chords as being the 4 chord to the 1 chord in the key of C. And really there's not much else going on in this song, harmonically speaking, but what keeps it interesting is the way that the guitars and the bass and the drums are just playing some really interesting parts, and the way that the whole arrangement of the song evolves. So the song kicks off with that bass figure, then the guitar enters playing a kind of intro solo or intro melody, and that goes like this. Nice and simple, but memorable, I think. And all of these notes can be seen as coming from the C major scale or C major pentatonic scale. We're starting here at the 5th fret on the A string, and we're going from D to E. Then we're over onto the D string, that's A to G, and then we've got a hammer on from D to E on the A string. And then we're doing that hammer on 2 more times. And then we're picking those 2 notes again, D and E. Then finally coming down to this C note here, 3rd fret on the A string. So one more time. Then we've got this chord hit, and the main riff of the song is all based around a pair of chord shapes played up here in the 8th position, and this is where I got it wrong when I was originally playing this song. I thought it was played down in the open position, something like that, but if you listen carefully, it's clearly played higher up the neck, and it's all based off of a C bar chord with a 6-string root, so up at the 8th fret, and then all we're doing is lifting up the index finger and leaving the other fingers where they are, and that just allows the open 2 top strings to ring out. So we've got the C chord, and then you're lifting up the index finger, and I suppose that gives you a kind of C major 7 type of sound. We've just got the 10th fret on the A and D, 9th fret on the G, and then open B and E. So we just hear 1 strum on that chord to start with, and then you put your index finger bar down, and we're just playing the lower notes in that chord, maybe with a quick down up down of the pick. So we play the top strings with the 1st finger off, and put the 1st finger down and play the lower strings. Then we're into what I would describe as the main riff of the song. Okay, really simple, kind of primitive but effective riff, this one, and it's just based off of those two chord shapes that I just described, and really I think just emphasizing the highest 4 or so strings in this. You're not really hearing the low E string or the A string at this point. So we're starting off with this shape here, with the index finger lifted, index finger goes down, strumming that twice, lifting that finger, strumming twice, and it just really continues like that. So and the basic rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It makes sense, I think, to play this all with downstrokes. You could try doing some down and ups, but I think the downstrokes help with the feel, and they also help you just emphasize the higher notes in that chord, because you really don't want to accidentally catch the lower strings when you're playing this. So that's the basic riff, and it's quite loosely played. I think you can just keep your strumming hand moving with eighth notes. You can fill in some extra strums in there if you wanted to. I think on the first recording, on the first New Order recording, you can maybe just hear some slightly different rhythmic stuff as well. So some occasional upstrokes as well. So we've got this riff then, it's repeated for 8 or so measures or bars, I think. Then we just let that G major 7 chord hang, and then play the lower notes of the C chord again, like a C power chord. And then we've got another riff that goes like this. So we're just playing this C note here, the 8th fret on the low E string, jumping up an octave to the 10th fret on the D string. We've got 9th fret on the D string, and then playing this G note here, 10th fret on the A string. And just take care over the rhythm here. We're coming in on beat 2 with this idea. So it's 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Just repeating that riff until the vocals come in. Then we've got the first verse, and the verse is made up of this riff which I just described, and also a variation on that riff which goes like this. So even simpler really, we're just going between this C and G notes. So we've got C, G, G, C, G. Again, that riff comes in on beat 2. It's 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4. And in the verse of the song, you're really just going between those two riffs, and it seems a little bit random where it changes. I can't discern a precise pattern, and in fact on the song you can hear that there are 2 guitar tracks. The guitar is kind of double tracked a little bit loosely, and sometimes one guitar is playing this and the other guitar is playing that. So I think you can just kind of change those riffs where it feels good. Then we're into the chorus, and the chorus is just the main riff. Then we're into a little, I suppose you'd call it a guitar solo, where it's not really a licksy kind of solo. It's more just a memorable melodic statement. And once again, this is based on the notes from the C major scale, if you want to think in terms of scales, and it's just made up of a couple of different melodic phrases. We start with this. So we're in the 5th position. We've got E and D, so it's E, D, E, D. Then we're going over to the 5th fret on the G string. That's a G, playing that twice, and then we've got F, E, D. So it's E, D, E, D, G, G, F, E, D. I'm going to use the proper note names here. You know it makes sense to learn those note names rather than just relying on frets and tab. That's the first phrase. Then we're really just repeating that, or repeating it with a slight variation. So I'm playing the E. I think you can detect just a little bend and release on that first note, just a small one. So we've got E, D, E, D, E, E, D, E, D. All of that second part of the phrase is just played on E and D. Then that's all just repeated. And then what happens is we play the same melody, but we're going up an octave. And this is all played on the G string. We've got D, E, F and G, all on the same string. So we're sliding into the E, and then we've got D, E, D, sliding up to the G at the 12th fret, and then I think onto the 1st finger. We've got some slides in there, so we're sliding from F to E, and then sliding from E to D. And then the same melody repeats. We've got the second half is just D and E. On that first E again, you can give it a bit of a bend and release. And then we repeat it. That's the guitar solo, if you will. And that's pretty much it. We've got another chorus and one more riff that I should point out. You hear this right at the end of the song, and it just goes like this. Very simple little arpeggio part, just based on a C major triad. So we've got C, E, G, it's 10th fret on the D, 9 on the G, 8 on the B. We're just going from low to high. Repeating those 3 notes. Again, you might just want to watch out for the rhythm, because we're coming in on an offbeat here. We're coming in on the and of 1. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's it for this video. Enjoy learning to play the song. I'm going to be posting my backing track up on my Patreon page, so if you want to play along you can check that out. And if you've enjoyed this, then you might also like to check out my Joy Division lessons. I think I've done 3 of those, and those can be found elsewhere on this channel, or you can do a search on my website. Thank you for watching. I shall see you next time. Bye bye.